Hey guys, in this lecture we're going to learn the purpose of database, why we actually use it and how to actually use it. So let's dive in. Alright, the purpose of a database is to actually store data. So when you actually are a client and you make a request to the server, let it be called a Gmail server. You send some email and password while you authenticate yourself into the Gmail account. Alright, when you actually request it, the data is been sent to the server. The server actually has a database that actually stores the password and email of yours. So it makes some request, fetches the data, makes sure that it matches with the data. If it doesn't match, it fails the authentication. If it matches, it will be success. So then the server will respond it whether it is a success or a failure. This is the process of how the database is useful in a real world scenario. Alright, if we do not have a database, what is the point of actually saving data? What is the point of actually having an application that can actually authenticate it? Because we need to know the email and password beforehand while the user or the client actually wants to log in. In that purpose, we actually use database. Alright, so the structure of a database. Alright, while we are discussing about SQL database, there are multiple types of them. There are SQL, NoSQL, and different kinds of databases that are being these are modern technology that is being adapted by many technological companies, but right now we are only focused on SQL database because this is the most primary one and a very basic one to understand even. Alright, if you see here, this block is actually called a database because we are moving into a pictorial representation. So whenever you want to use a database, you create a table. There are multiple tables, right? The list can go on up to n. So right now we have two tables here and the fields are inside the table. So these fields actually hold the data. These are rows inside a table. Alright, now you can understand that field 1, 2 are all columns and each data row is the one called a record. So there are some queries that can be applied on the data inside a database. So how to actually, if you want to create a database, you use the command create database and then the name of the database that you want to create. Alright, so if you want to actually use the database, then you actually get to the database using use and the name of the database. So creating it just creates the database. So you are not actually holding it, just creating it. But when you want to actually make some operations on it, you want to get it as a current database. So then you perform a use operation. And then what are you going to do? You're going to create tables inside the database. So the command is create table, the name of the table, and then actually specifying the fields and the data type and the size of the data type. Alright, here we are using the field user_name, which holds the data of the username. And then it is the type of varchar, which means we can actually store text data. Alright, and then the size 30 because we want to store data that is up to the limit of 30, not longer than that. And there are another operations. Insert value. Okay, we have created our database, we created tables, we created fields, but where is the data? We have the format to store the data, not the data. So here comes the insert command. We can actually insert data into that tables. So this is the command, insert into the table name and the field name, and then we are going to pass some values, and next is the retrieve value. Okay, we have stored the data, but whenever we want to actually see the data, what is it there, we actually retrieve it using the select command. While here we are actually using star here, select star from user, which means we are actually grabbing all the data inside the record. So star indicates all the data. But if you want to have particular data, you can actually use it too. Alright, if we want to delete a value, we say delete from the table name, so if you want to delete a particular record, use the where clause and then specify the username so that the user record will be deleted from the table. Alright, there are a whole bunch of other kinds of clauses we can use, but right now these are only the basic commands. There is an update command as well. We are going to see it practically. So what are we going to do now is actually open the mysql client. So let's go ahead and open it. So come to your desktop and open mysql command line client. Alright, Now after opening this, what are we going to do here is we're going to enter the password. So type your password that you have actually used to install this. Yeah. And after this, what are we going to do here is we're going to create the database. Alright, so create database, and I'm going to call it as my underscore database. Yeah. Now we want to use it. Use my underscore database. Yeah. So now let's create the table. Create table user with the user underscore name as its field, with having varchar as its type and size of 30. Alright, now enter it. This must create it. Yeah. Alright, now we have created our table. Now we need to insert data into the table. So let's go ahead and say insert into user user underscore name, and now values. What is the value? Peter. Yeah. Okay, now let's add in another name. I'm going to say Jack. Yeah, this works. If you want to view the data, you can say select star from user, and here it is, Peter and Jack. We have 2 rows in the set. Alright, so if you want to update anything, as I have said about the update command, you can go ahead and say update user set user underscore name equal to what? I'm going to say John, where user underscore name equal to Jack. Alright, now let's run the command and again go to select star from users. Now the Jack has been updated with John. Alright, so in this way we can actually see, now you can see here Peter and John. So in this way we can actually make sure that update has been performed in a good way. Alright, so if you want to delete anything, you can go ahead and say delete. If you want to delete everything, let's say delete star from user. Wait, it throws an error, so let's just write something else. Delete user, delete from user. Okay, wait, delete from user where user underscore name equal to Peter. Now run the command. Now it's run. The query is okay. So now let's go ahead and fetch the data inside the database. So select star from user. Yeah, now the Peter has been deleted and we only have John. Alright, so this is how we can actually perform commands to actually manipulate the data, retrieve the data, store the data, update the data, delete the data. We have seen a whole bunch of it. Alright, this is a major part of the application process that we're building, because database is a very critical aspect of the project, because we are going to play around with data. Alright, so make sure that you experiment a little bit, go around into the internet, study some things, and we can continue with the next lecture. Thank you.